You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. Welcoming you to another lap at Extra Mile for today, August 17, 2023. It was a twin billing in Indianapolis. Scott Dixon proves why he is the greatest of all time. There was a surprise winner in NASCAR, and apparently we're going to legislate the 2008 F1 World Championship. But to help me talk about all of this, of course, my co-host, Christopher Lehman, Michael Ward. Fellas?
How's it going tonight?
Hello.
Oh, there you are. What's up?
Whoa.
He's set with his mic. And if you are listening live, make sure to get your comments and we will read them as the show goes on. It is so nice to be here once again on a Thursday evening. It's also the finale of SRX tonight. Unfortunately, I have not watched the last two races. But I do know Paul Tracy got an early vacation from SRX after he turned Jimmy Spencer a couple weeks ago. And I think this might be the end of old Paul in SRX.
Oh,
Yes.
without a doubt.
Yeah, without a doubt. And what a time he's had.
Yeah, he kind of leaned into the I'm going to be the villain that wrecks everybody way too much. And, of course, it got to the point of just pissing everybody off. And, you know, you're wrecking a whole bunch of Tony Stewart and Rick Evernham's race cars. So that didn't go over well for him.
Yeah. The guy was definitely rubbing everybody the wrong way. And, yeah, he was responsible for tearing up a lot of equipment. So I think that not only is it justified for just what he was doing on track, being overly aggressive when it wasn't necessarily necessary, but from a financial standpoint, they had to do it. I mean, they're not a big series with tens of millions of dollars coming in, or maybe they are, but their costs are nearly that anyway. But they can't afford to be tearing up that many cars every week. So I think it was just a choice they had to do.
Yeah. It was something that had to happen. So Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart are going for the championship tonight. Tonight is also the Slam Ball final, incidentally. So a couple of good finals going on this evening. But in news that made everybody happy, NASCAR Classics launched apropos of nothing yesterday. Today was the official launch, and it's basically every NASCAR Cup Series race from the beginning of time. From the 50s to this year, you've got it by track and by year. You've got the 75 greatest races in NASCAR, which includes the Jimmy Johnson getting his 7th championship, Jeff Gordon's first win, of course, Daytona 1979, Dale Earnhardt getting his first Daytona 500. I believe that scintillating Homestead Miami finale in 2011 is also on that list as well. I jumped in it with the 94 Coke 600. I know Chris watched the 2020 Auto Club race. I think This is the first decision in a long time where all NASCAR fans were happy.
Yeah, and I just don't see how this was a lose for NASCAR. Right, you've got all the race footage, and what are you doing with it? Nothing. You're just holding on to it. You're better off giving people the option to be able to go back and watch some of their favorite races. You get a little bit of website traffic, which is great. No commercials on it from at least my perspective, which was awesome. I don't know if you guys ran into any, but I watched the entire race, not one commercial. Just freaking hats off to NASCAR for doing this, because this is something that, you don't even need to throw a commercial. I'd be fine with maybe 4 commercial breaks, one at the beginning, one at the end of stage 1, one at the end of stage 2, and then maybe one halfway through the third stage. I'm okay with a couple of commercial breaks, but I really enjoyed the fact that where the commercial breaks were in the coverage, it just skips right over it like you're watching Netflix or any streaming service. So hats off to NASCAR. This was the biggest win they've had in a long time.
Yeah, and big ups to them as well, is because they could have charged for this, and they just put it out there for free. Like,
I wonder if they might later.
It depends on how they decide to grow the site out. I think eventually there might be a paid tier for something, whatever that'll be. I just don't know what it is, but they're making so much.
My guess is that it'll be the broadcast is free, and then you can pay. There would be almost like a F1 TV where you could get, different, different camera angles. You can do the ride-on car with the team broadcast, almost like a multi-viewer F1 TV. And, I think that maybe this is NASCAR trying out streaming on their own.
Yeah, and this could be a prelude to them going full streaming with the races, because remember, 2025, they are broadcasting the Xfinity Series themselves and licensing it to the CW. So this could be a situation where they're looking to bring this stuff in-house, because they're not going to be beholden to any network. Well, they do want that TV money, though, so I don't know how much they're going to go full hog into that. But at the end of the day, they wouldn't be beholden to TV if they were broadcasting it all themselves. So, and NASCAR, they've got enough fans. If they do it right, they can make enough money off of it. But I'm looking at the top 25 list. The one race I unfortunately do not see is Darlington 2020, the return from COVID race. I might go back and watch that on here, because that whole, just everything around that and where we were at the time is just so surreal to go back and watch that full race. And then Harvick finishes and goes to celebrate with the fans and looks up and, oh yeah, right, nobody's here.
And to run opposite of that, Daryl, I think Auto Club was the last race before the shutdown.
Phoenix
Auto Club
Phoenix
was the week before.
Fans. Yeah.
So Auto Club was just before it, though. But it is so weird. Like, it's like nothing. We didn't know at that time, and God, I miss Jeff Gordon in the booth. And yeah, and why did you ruin Auto Club NASCAR? Come on now.
I don't know. Michael, you were with us with those COVID races, and we were like, it's going to be really weird if the sports world shuts down. And that was before Phoenix. And then that that was before Phoenix. And then that next weekend in Atlanta, everything's gone.
Yeah. It still felt so surreal, because it's like we didn't know if we were going to get this whole situation figured out in time. And so to have the cars back on track at Darlington in 2020, it just felt so good, because it's like, okay, yes, the world is actually finally starting to heal after this whole ordeal.
Yes. And I hope they start adding the other series. I want to go back and watch the Xfinity race from that year where they were racing in a hurricane. And they were like, y'all got rain tires, y'all be all right. They were not all right. Oh, that was a wild race. So, what races do you guys, well, other than the ones you already named, what races do you guys plan to watch?
Every Alex Bowman win.
I should have known that.
And then it depends on how much time I really get, but just kind of popping around July 2001 Daytona. Go relive that. And then I'll go to Dale Senior's first Daytona win. Just a couple of those, races that bring back an extreme amount of nostalgia. And I would say those are probably the big ones. So Alex Bowman wins, and then the Earnhardt stuff.
I
For
go ahead.
Go ahead. For me, it's definitely Watkins Glen 2012.
My 75 greatest because that finish.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Darlington 2003. And then Atlanta 2001. There are a lot of Atlanta races I would love to rewatch.
Yeah. I want to go back and watch some stuff from the 90s, like 93, 94, 95, because
get that Rusty Wallace Dale Senior rivalry.
Yes, go back and see that, see the Dale and Dale show, all of that.
Oh,
because that was slightly. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna go back and watch Kulwicki's season 2.
Yeah. You got to watch 92 as well.
I don't think this is significant, but it kind of bothers me that it's not on here. The 2018, I think it was the 2018. It was either 2018 or 2017 Homestead race where Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart tied.
Oh, no, that was 2011.
That was 2011?
Yes, that was 2011. That's the one there. It's on the front page.
Oh, okay. I must be wrong then. I'm
gonna go back and watch that one because that race was incredible. Oh man, just how that one ended and then being tied on points the last time we'll ever see that at the end of the season with how the rules are now. Just incredible races.
Oh, wow,
This is not sponsored, by the way. This is just us talking about it. Make sure if you have a chance, go out there and check out NASCAR Classics. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the Indy Twin Bill. If you're a Michael McDowell fan, you're happy. If you're a Scott Dixon fan, you're even more happy. But if you're a fan of anybody on that playoff bubble in NASCAR, well, we'll talk about it on the other side of this break. Here on the Extra Mile IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back here on iSports Radio, your rec feed for all that is sports. This is the Extra Mile. Daryl, Chris, and Michael here with you this evening. Going to get into the races from this past Sunday, and it doesn't take that long to get into it because both races were at the same place, Indianapolis, IndyCar, and NASCAR. So we'll kind of talk about them indisposed with each other and try to weave in and out of both races. We'll start with NASCAR, where if I had told you Michael McDowell was going to win that race, and I think I kind of said he might, you would have said that it would have rained or Daryl is drinking. But no, not only did Michael McDowell win this race, he absolutely dominated on Sunday.
Yeah, front row motorsports. I think they can potentially become a front running team, to be honest with you, especially with how this car is performing. I think they're up there because, remember a couple of years ago when McDowell won the Daytona 500 and we thought he was just going to fade away? He actually stayed up there competitively, And I just think... Go ahead.
Yeah, McDowell has been around. There's a lot of fans that are not a fan of him because of some stuff he said off the record with racing, but we will get to that later. Well, I mean, it is what it is. You're not going to like everything that someone says offline unless they say the gamer word, Larson. Yeah. But as far as on track, Michael McDowell is probably the best thing that happened to Front Row Motorsports. And Todd Gilliland, he had a so-so race. He's been solid and he's coming around. And actually got a contract. Sorry, I'm not sure what happened. Are we back? You guys hear me?
Still?
I don't know what happened, but we're back on. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
If you are with us, for some reason we had a slight internet blip, but we are back. So
Did it stop recording?
No, it kept recording. It stopped and reconnected, so we're still live.
That'll be a good one for the outtakes, Michael.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
I was like, maybe we should keep talking about front row motorsports, but then we stopped.
Yeah. So I apologize for that. We're back here, but as I was saying, when it comes to Front Row Motorsports and RFK, they're going up. Stuart Haas is just cratered into the ground.
Yeah.
They've been plummeting for a while, though.
Yeah.
So actually I don't think you're in the sheet, Daryl, but I had filled out the talking points, and actually Michael McDowell was on the table for tonight. And basically my question was, has his equipment held him back or has he improved with age?
Who, McDowell?
Yeah.
I think it's a mixture of both. I think he has improved, and those Front Row Motorsports cars are a lot better than what they used to be. And
when you factor in how much this car has equalized the field, and just that muscle memory from driving in the sport for a long time, I think that's a big contributing factor to it.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would also agree. But I'm so glad to see Front Row Motorsports coming up. We do need to see these newer teams starting to develop and become the stalwarts in the sport because, that's how this thing grows. And I think they're one of the teams that were definitely helped by the next-gen car, and it'll be exciting to see where they go. Unfortunately for Daniel Suarez, don't even get me started on Daniel Snyder, late race pit stop. The hose got caught under the wheel, cost him about 20 seconds. He was leading that race, ends up finishing third. I'm not going to lie, I got 2311 flashbacks seeing that happen. It was kind of nice to see it happen to somebody else for once.
And Daryl, to piggyback off of that for a second, I was reading a comment from someone saying that if this was the old tire changing rules, that mistake would not have happened. Do you agree or disagree with that one? With that statement?
You would have had more time to figure it out. You do not have more time. You don't have the time now with the one lug nut. It's 3 seconds and you're done. So yeah. I think if that is the 5 lugs, he would have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Noticed the hose was under the wheel, shook it out while they were putting the other tire on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he'd been gone. But that is the magic of this new one lug system. People say it makes it easier. No, it amplifies mistakes because if you screw up now, you lose 10, 15 seconds. Like pit stops are 9.5 seconds now. And going back to the NASCAR Classics thing before I sent it to Chris, back then, if you did a pit stop under 20 seconds, I was watching the 94 Coke 600, those pit stops felt like an eternity to compare to what we're seeing now. And with the faster pit stops comes, when you have a mistake, that's the win gone, especially in a race you only have one caution.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't really think I can. I have nothing to add, Daryl. You said it so perfectly.
But Suarez does finish third, does pick up I would say he would have picked up ground, but he ended up losing ground because McDowell ends up winning the race. So now it's between Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez for the 16th spot, and Bubba Wallace trundles around outside the top 10 all day, gets no stage points, finishes 18th, was 58 plus going in, is now 28. The Bubba Wallace sucks at road courses joke is not freaking funny anymore. Okay, I like the guy. He needs to be doing the Rolex 24 every freaking year until he gets these road courses figured out. I don't care if you don't like him. You're going to get in a GT3, an Lexus GT3, and running these damn things until you figure it out. I said this after Michigan. He could very well be at Daytona trying to get in after being 15th. And he has by his standards, a good road course day. Everybody behind him stood on their head. And we're going to Chase Elliott's playground this week in Watkins Glen. Chase Elliott could very well win this race.
Very well.
And then you're going to be sitting there, and a friend of mine, was like, well, it's different because last year he wasn't in this position. I will talk about that at the end of the season. When we are in the season, I'm not thinking about last year. I'm thinking about this year. And what I'm thinking about this year is you had a chance at Nashville, you screwed it. You had a chance at Richmond, the pit crew screwed it. You had a chance at Michigan, the pit crew screwed it again. You went to Kansas in the spring. What did the pit crew do? They screwed it. You go to Talladega earlier this year. That one's just on Bubba. There's nothing I can do. You can't block that many times in the corner. If he holds position with Blaney behind him, probably wins that race. You had 6 or 7 opportunities this year to not be on the bubble, and yet you were on the bubble. And if this was the first year of 2311, I wouldn't be this upset. If this was the second year, I'd be ecstatic. But this is the third year. And you already showed me last year what you guys are capable of when you are competent. In that summer stretch that went all the way to the end of the year. You showed me what you could do when you were competent. They have not been competent this season. I'm just going to put it. They have not been competent or consistent. And that's for Reddick as well. Reddick just got lucky he won COTA, or he'd be in the same situation. Because the pit crews have not been good for 23-11. And with that 23, you can't points race when the last two races before the cutoff are your driver's worst. You almost won Michigan. Like, we all watched that Michigan race, right? Bubba almost won it. Why would you point race that day? Why wouldn't you go for the win that day? When you're at a race you know you're good at. These are decisions that don't make sense. And now you're sitting here, half our lead's gone. The guy behind me is probably going to win this week because I freaking suck at Watkins Glen. He's got an average finish of 27th there. Chase Elliott's average finish is 5th. Those averages play out. You're on the outside looking in. At Daytona. I don't want to go to Daytona needing to do anything but finish. You want to go there trying to win? That's what we're doing? We're going to do this 3 times in a row?
Yeah, and you factor in that desperation. It's never a good idea.
Yeah. There's going to be desperation. You know it's going to rain because it's Daytona in August. I've been there. It rained every day. So the race is probably going to end under caution, and we know y'all can't rain strategy. Remember Atlanta? Threw that race away, and McDowell finished freaking 4th. Could go down the pit, get in a freaking accident, and the guy behind you runs 96 laps, finishes in the top 5. That makes a lot of freaking sense. So, and I'm going to wrap up this unintentional soapbox by saying this. They don't make the playoffs, Booty Barker's got to go.
Yeah.
I love the guy. I can't deal with the conservative strategy. He got to get out of there. That's all I got to say about the 23. Other than that race only had one caution, and, it played out organically, which is fine. Michael McDowell had a great setup. Chase Elliott was catching him there at the end, but we did have a tire test at the Oval on Monday, and we might be getting that Brickyard 400 back next year for the 30th anniversary of NASCAR in Indianapolis. Chris, Michael, what do y'all think about the prospects of the next gen car at the Indianapolis Oval?
I like the idea, to be honest with you. I like the idea of, us going back to the Oval and, that track is actually kind of difficult if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea of seeing these guys try to, throw that car around the corners in Indianapolis. I think it'll be a great spectacle.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see the next gen car tackling this track. I mean, it's got long enough straightaways to where you can draft and pass. So I think we're going to see a lot more action than we're used to when it comes to stock cars here. And at the end of the day, if you're going to run Indianapolis and you're NASCAR, if you're not running the Oval, why are we there? That's my thought on it. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys that I think with most fans really that the next gen cars put on some great oval racing. So there's no harm in giving the Indy oval layout a fair shake at it at the minimum. I saw some video from the tests. It looks pretty good, and I mean, if you think about it, from kind of just going into turn 1 and turn 3, those cars sound nice. it's nice to hear the cars winding up as they come down into one. Um, that sound is irreplaceable, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we do. Not running the oval, or not running the road course, and worst case scenario, you go back. But I think that it's going to put on good racing, but it's not going to be popular racing.
Mm-hmm.
Just there's not going to be a ton of passing. It's not going to be a wreck fest, but it's going to be a quality race.
And we just gotta just understand that it's not going to be, that wreck fest type of race. It's Indy. It's a flat track. You're not going to have 2 or 3 grooves, and that's fine. It's going to be a different type of racing. It's going to be fun racing. Now, this week, we have Watkins Glen. This has become like a super speedway as a road course. And it's become one of the favorite road courses on the schedule. It's up right near Chris's neck of the woods, of course. But this race always has been a staple of NASCAR and road courses. It is one of the better ones, and it is going to be fun to see them throwing those cars through the bus stop on Sunday, which is one of the favorite corners, and one of the favorite combinations, going from the bus stop into that looping carousel right-hander that goes downhill. It's always going to be fun, and it is always fun to see people freak out when the drivers don't obey track limits at this place.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. Obviously, I'm a bit of a homer, so that certainly helps. But you're right; it's a very fast road course that it doesn't race like a road course in a way. It's very fast. It's got some good racing. The bus stop is always a fun corner. The S's are good. That you don't give turn 1 where they're coming down the hill into that sharp 90. Mm-hmm. From TV, you guys don't see that's a steep hill. Like you don't really get that from the TV, but it's almost like Coda turn 1, but going downhill instead of up. It's very steep going down into that corner. So it's fun. I always like when I used to go as a kid all the time, and then even as an adult, I would always sit on 10 and 11. So the last 2 turns before you go down the front stretch, and you get a lot of cars that go off, a lot of Hail Mary attempts going in there. So those corners always got some pretty good action going on as far as beating and banging. But it's a fun track. I love it. I'm so happy I live near it. I'm so happy that my family gave me the opportunity to go so much as a kid. And not going this year, but hopefully next year and going on, we can get back into taking Henry to it and kind of starting our own family tradition with it.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, and starting those traditions is fun. I know Miriam and I have one now with Richmond. We're going to try to go again sometime soon. I need to take her to Dover as well, but obviously different circumstances. But it's going to be fun to build those memories, and it's going to be a good one to set up who's going to be in desperation mode going into Daytona 2 weeks' time on a Saturday night, which will probably end up getting run on a Sunday anyway, because we know how Daytona's weather gets now. Rain. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how the IndyCar race shook out, and apparently we're going to talk about the 2008 Formula One World Championship again. We'll explain on the other side of this break.
We got one more NASCAR topic to cover, Daryl.
What's up?
Well, we did not talk about the big news out of Australia.
Oh, yeah, SVG.
He was granted early release from Red Bull Ampol Racing. So he is officially coming stateside in 2024.
And the sounds all signs point to Trackhouse.
Yep. That's awesome.
Yep, that's
So
awesome. And he's gonna be in race winning equipment too.
Yeah. I read that it's going to be a developmental deal where he gets to split time between at least Cup Series and trucks. And I don't think they have anything lined up for Xfinity yet, or if they do, it's just not necessarily maybe gotten out there yet. But Trackhouse is obviously really in with Nice in the Truck Series. And so it sounds like he's going to be running just to gain as much experience on ovals as possible. So it sounds like he's going to jump between different series next week, and they'll probably try to find a full-time points ride for him in 2025.
Do not expect much out of him on the ovals, but on road courses, he is going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If he can figure out these cars, I think he can. I think he can be a force to be reckoned with, even on.
I mean, definitely, but it's
without a doubt,
the road courses are so difficult.
Yeah,
or not the road courses, the ovals are so difficult for these guys that've never done them to figure out, which is surprising. But
however, if he can come in and just knock out top tens in every road course, he'll be a force to reckon with.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're going to take a break, and we will be right back here in the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great. Here to give you what you want. Here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We are back here on the Extra Mile iSports Radio, your feed for all that is sports. Daryl, Chris, and Michael here with you this evening, going on into the final segment of the program, and that is, of course, the IndyCar race at Indianapolis. Of course, the third time for them racing there in Indy. I don't know how I feel about this. doubleheader. I think obviously it was born out of the necessities of COVID, but I don't know about this going long term, and it doesn't sound like it's going to be going long term much longer if the rumors are to be believed that NASCAR is heading back to the oval. But it's fun to have them around, see IndyCar and NASCAR take the same track. And Scott Dixon, boy, oh boy, he was out of this race on lap 1, got caught up in an incident that took Joseph Newgarden out, and Dixon just clawed his way back. At the end of the race, he ends up in front thanks to crafty pit strategy, gets in front of Graham Rahal and wins in Indianapolis, keeps his win streak by year alive, which pretty much been his whole time in the IndyCar series. It was definitely a Scott Dixon type of day in the Gallagher Grand Prix. You think he's out of it, and then you look up at the end and you're like, wait, where did he come from?
Yeah,
Chris?
definitely Alice Albon, a Scott Dixon type race where, like I said, he's out of it, but he somehow manages to claw himself back in, and that to me that's just classic Scott Dixon. What about you, Chris?
Yeah. Scott Dixon can be down, but he's never out. I think that's probably the only way I can really justify. I mean, justify is not really the right word, but Scott Dixon, he's consistent. He's one of the best to ever do it. I think we've all learned through nearest to win. Never count Scott Dixon out. That guy is always a threat. And sometimes he'll sneak up on you when you're not even expecting it.
And on the other side, you just got to feel for Graham Rahal. Been about 6 years since he won. Had that opportunity to get back to victory lane, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen because lol Scott Dixon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But on the other side, Alex Palou is just steamrolling his way to the championship at this point, even though he's not going to be going to McLaren next year.
I'm still trying to figure out why he's even bothering with Formula One.
I don't know, but Zach Brown's contract stuff is going to get him actually sued if he does not calm down.
The guy is a loose cannon.
Yeah. I know Palou's managing team left him, but it's like it's a whole situation with these contracts, and it sounds like somebody was not doing what they were supposed to be doing and was really cruising for another lawsuit. So he had to back out, or there was going to be yet another lawsuit. So
my thing is, why not just stay at the series you're getting a lot of money in and dominating currently? Just stay there.
that's what I've been saying the whole time.
I don't get it, but
There's an appeal to Formula One, though.
yeah, and it's an appeal to run maybe fifth for the rest of your life.
I don't know.
Instead of winning.
There's a prestige there that you don't get with any other motorsports, though.
There is,
And if you can go to Formula One and be competitive, that's a big thing.
we'll see. But I don't know. I just think he should stay where he's currently winning.
Same.
Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
I think he's staying there for a while, though.
Yeah, I think so. And
Then he signed an extension, didn't he?
yeah. Well, he didn't really have. Well, he originally signed a contract with McLaren, but then it was Chip Ganassi had the rights to Pelot's contract until September 1st. So he signed that before he was supposed to, which is probably what got them in trouble. And now, it's either get another lawsuit or renege on the deal, and that's what he had to do, Zach Brown. It just goes back to Zach Brown is playing too much with these contracts. He needs to stop playing before he gets himself in trouble.
Yeah.
Also, if he wants to go to McLaren, why? They have Piastri and Norris, unless Norris goes somewhere else. But
that's the other thing.
That's a whole nother debate.
I could see Lando going to Red Bull. I'm not sure.
If the Perez seat comes open.
Yeah.
Well,
Lando
maybe,
and Max are best friends.
They're best friends, but I don't know.
They are each other's best friend.
I don't know if he's willing to play second fiddle to Max.
Well,
because we've all seen the best friend scenario when there's a championship on the line.
Here's the thing, though. Would you rather play second fiddle to Max and be able to take the wins that he doesn't get, or would you rather be in McLaren and just not win?
I don't want to play second fiddle to anybody.
Your best chance to actually get a win is with Red Bull, though.
But I'm not playing second fiddle to anybody. I'd rather be the number one in my own team.
I think this is the debate we've always, and this is just another one of the another nuanced version of the would you rather be mid-pack in F1 or the tops in any other class debate, which if Formula One was more even, this would be a much easier conversation. But while we're on the subject of Formula One, before we go to nearest the win conversation, this is from motorsport.com. I have to bring the website back up real quick. But Felipe Massa is really going forward with this. I'm going to sue the FIA over the 2008 world title situation. According to motorsports.com, the claim is that Bernie Ecclestone allegedly told Massa that they knew about Spingate, which was Nelson Piquet Jr. intentionally crashing at Singapore to try and help Fernando Alonso. Supposedly they knew about it in 2008, not 2009, which could have possibly changed the championship. I'm not really sure if it would have, because Lewis Hamilton won that championship.
The thing about it is, if you guys can remember that night, I'm sorry.
No, I need to check something, make sure I was right on that championship. Keep going.
The thing about it is, you can't really base that, because when the caution came out, I guess he's saying that if the caution never came out, Ferrari would have another, effed up that pit stop.
Well, no, he's saying that if they had penalized Renault, or I don't know what he's saying, to be honest. Because if you look at
Renault from the championship,
I don't know what he's saying, because if you look at the actual standings, Massa finished second, and Alonso finished fifth in the standings. Now, I mean,
he went on to win at Singapore and Japan. I don't know. I guess he wants them to remove from the championship.
I'm not sure what his argument is going to be because of how the championship ended.
Because the thing about it is, when Spingate happened, it wasn't necessarily Renault that effed up his championship. It was Ferrari that effed up his championship, if you ask me.
And that's the part he forgets.
Because they forgot to unhook the fuel hose, and when he drove out, the fuel hose was still on.
Ferrari
come back.
Ferrari
messed
Felipe
up.
Massa.
Ferrari messed up your championship, not Renault.
Yeah. So he's saying that because they didn't take any, they didn't do anything about it, that it cost him millions of dollars in bonuses and sponsorship. But I'm like, my brother in Christ, you beat Alonso in the standings. Like, I don't know, I guess disqualify Alonso from that race, but that still doesn't help your championship because, again, you finished out at Singapore because of the pit stop. Like, I just don't see.
If you don't believe me, there are thousands of videos going over what happened in that night. It did not matter if the Renault crashed or not. They fucked up the pit stop.
Yeah, like Fernando Alonso ended up winning that race, but okay, it's not like Massa finished second. He finished out of the race because of the pit stop debacle. Actually, let me make sure he finished out the race. Oh, no, that's
I have a
qualifying,
question.
so. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but did you see that Austin Hill tweeted that he's back with RCR?
Yes, he got a multi-year deal.
Yeah, did you see that Chris Rice tweeted, wait, what? With a couple question marks after it?
Yep. So Massa ended up finishing 13th in that race. Even with the whole fuel rig debacle. I'm trying to figure out what he want them to do.
I really don't know what they're supposed to do because it happened. The Renault crashed, but y'all still messed up the pit stop.
Well, even if you take Fernando Alonso out of that race, he still finished outside the points because Ferrari still screwed up the pit stop.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting the whole Felipe Massa is the rightful winner of the 2008 championship.
I just call it a missing ring, honestly. It's an honest to goodness just missing ring.
So I don't know.
Is that Glock?
Yeah. If Hamilton doesn't pass Glock, you're the champion. Spingate didn't help, but Spingate was not the ultimate decider. And I'm not sure what they wanted to do. I'm not sure what he wanted them to do. Hopefully, if this does go to court, which, as motorsports.com says, it is unlikely that he's going to get anything out of the FIA about this. Because the sporting code says you got to protest within 14 calendar days of the competition. We're 15 years on. Even if they were going to take it to court, it would have to go to the International Court of Appeal. Which, again, what are they going to do? It's 15 years ago.
Also, I just went back and watched the highlights of the pit stop. Not only did they mess up the fuel hose, they also did an unsafe release because he almost hit Adrian Sutil.
Yeah, Sutil, and it was a double stack.
Yeah,
because Raikkonen was behind him.
Man, but Ferrari has a history of just effing up pit stops, man.
Yeah, this is. I don't really know what he wants to happen.
I don't know what I don't know what he's expecting. Also, I'm a Ferrari fan, but I'm also a Facts fan. So, I'm when I see BS like that claim, I gotta refute it.
And I'm like, yeah, if he gets points here, he's probably the World Drivers' Champion. That's on Ferrari. That is not on, the guy who ended up winning the championship, Lewis Hamilton. It might be, you could say, well, if he doesn't stop there, that doesn't happen. That's not really an excuse.
You can't really say that.
Yeah.
That is not set in stone. You cannot base an entire championship on what might have happened.
Yeah.
The thing is, it did happen. Ferrari messed up. You lost the championship.
Yeah. I don't know.
Want to know
Chris,
who else lost the championship from not having a good pit stop? Just ask Alain Prost when he lost by half a point.
Yep. Chris, what do you think about it? Then we can go to nearest the win.
So I have been on Twitter the last 15 minutes. I do apologize, but I think that Chase Rice was completely caught off guard by this Austin Hill thing. Or
Did
Chris Rice, not Chase.
Did Chris not know Austin Hill was coming back?
No, Chris. I think Chris was expecting to sign him to Collick. I think we have a. I think he.
We might have a McLaren Ganassi in NASCAR situation.
Yeah, because he tweeted, "Wait, what?" He retweeted Austin Hill's announcement and said, "Wait, what?" And then in the comments, everybody's like, "Insert Oscar Piastri tweet here," and it might not necessarily be over. I don't know, but I think everything that I had seen linked Austin Hill to the Colleague 31.
I also thought he was going over there.
And so the fact that he just re-signed a multi-year deal to stay at RCR and Xfinity, that complicates things. So I do apologize. I haven't been listening, but I have been. You know how it is when you get into a Twitter dive.
Oh no, man! When you get a scoop, man, go ahead and follow that. We're not even mad at you.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is Chris Rice tweeted this literally less than 15 minutes ago. So I mean, this is about as breaking as it gets. But we could have a situation on our hands that's worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
See what happens in the media this week.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how this goes. But some people think it might have been a joke. They may have been close. He may have just decided I'm going back. But we'll see.
Oh, shit.
So let's go ahead and get to nearest the win. We only have NASCAR Watkins Glen this week. And Chris, I'll just make it real easy on you. Who didn't pick Chase Elliott this week?
Taryn.
Oh, God, all of you picked Chase?
We all picked Chase Elliott.
Chase.
Oh,
4 out of 5.
God.
Four out of 5 picked Chase this week.
Oh,
including the three of us. The three of us and Matt White picked Chase Elliott.
Okay. I'm gonna just say this: the extra mile curse doesn't exist because remember when we all picked Verstappen and he still won the race.
Full disclosure: I hope the curse does happen.
As a Bubba Wallace fan, same.
Nothing would make me happier than Alex Bowman picking up a win and dedicating it to Roscoe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I unfortunately need that not to happen so that we can stay in the playoff spot going to Daytona.
Now, watch it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, Alex is running Xfinity, so I'll take a win in either series. Preferably Cup, but Xfinity would be nice.
Well, we'll see. But we are going to get ready to get out of here. Remember, DK Jr. 12 for me. Chris is at Fiji Sims. Michael _War25. You want to get at us on Twitter. Make sure you follow all of our pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or for social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for the show, and TikTok. And make sure you check out all those pages for iSports Radio as well. And also, make sure you check out iSportsRadio.com. Get yourself some merch, learn about some shows, listen to all the other shows, which we have a bunch of, from regional shows to specific sports shows. Everything you want right there on iSports Radio, especially with 3 and Out. Football season is coming up. They just did their 8 divisions in 8 days recently, so go ahead and check that out real quick as preseason rolls on and we're getting real close to the start of the NFL season. I'm actually happy the season is starting for once because Dan Snyder is gone. But anyway, if you've missed any episode of any iSports Radio show, it can be found wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, the YouTube repository, which has a copy of every show we've ever done. So that'll do it for this episode of The Extra Mile. For Chris and Michael, I'm Daryl. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.